Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nawaz, for giving me an opportunity to be your host and be your speaker in this evening. Nawaz and I actually have a lot of conversation about the topic and the content and what we are going to present. And I really like the title which Nawaz suggested. And you already familiar with the title. And let me share my screen. And so you will have an idea what we are going to discuss today. So the title is, isn't it a great to be on a real team? And we are actually asking a question in the title of the sessions. So what we are going to do is this session is we are trying to do something slightly different. So this is a little bit of my introduction, my LinkedIn page, in case if you want to connect me. I'm just a curious lifelong learner. I'm just a coach, author, speaker, trainer, and as now you know, amateur photographer. So what is the agenda of this meeting? So this is the format of the session. I try to do something differently. So you are not going to see any text heavy duty slide. In fact, this is the only slide that is a text heavy. Other than this, no slide is text heavy. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. And what we are going to do is, since the title of the topic is in the form of questions, so I try to do one experiment this time, and I am trying to ask the question, approximately 24 questions during the whole session. So this time I'm actually asking all of you to unmute. And not only unmute, in case if you cannot unmute yourself for any reason, if there is a lot of noise or you are driving or something else, then participate on a chat. Because what I am going to do, although I am a speaker in this session, I'm going to speak less and you are going to speak more. Everyone agrees? I'm expecting everyone to be unmute if they can. If they cannot, that is fine. Start participating on a chat. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is the outcome you are expecting of this session? Be verbal or write in a chat, whatever way you prefer. What do you expect the outcome of this session? Thank you, Mashood. Thank you. So only 4 people's response till now. Few techniques, knowledge sharing, how to collaborate as a team. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. So now my next question for all of you is, I'm going to show you some names and let me know, what do you think? Is this a team?
I would love them to be on the same team to see what would it look like.
Yeah. In my initial when I started this thing several years ago, I added the Michael Jackson also, but since Michael Jackson is no more with us, so I removed the Michael Jackson from the list. So if we are lucky to have all these peoples, yes, I explicitly did the people name with the Michael. I did the Wikipedia search and found the famous people with the first name Michael. That is intentional. You can pick any name. Michael is, there is nothing important in Michael. So, but the question is this a team? Not a team. Okay. You can also speak. No problem. Individual in some great team. Nice. Individual people with different skills. So since I have approximately 20 or so questions, so I'm approximately spending 2 minutes per question. So we will be in our time box. Okay, so I heard from most of you that this is not a team. But my next question is, how can we make them a team? Okay, we don't know if it is a team. We need more context. Common goal. I was saying the common goal, where we need to make them a team. Okay. Okay, so forget about those people. If there are other individuals and we want to make them a team, how can we do that? So the purpose of this question is, if we have some group of individuals which are not a team, how can we make them a team? Common vision, action plan, individualized plan for each. I heard a lot of good things. Common goal or purpose. Awesome. Shared understanding. Align their goals to a shared vision. Thank you. I'm just curious, is there any confusion or any problem for being a verbal? I don't mind of the written things, but if someone can speak, that is great. Okay. Nice. Okay, so what I heard for most of you is repeating pattern is a common goal or share vision or something like that. So it means that if we have the common goal, if we have a group of individuals and we give them a common goal, then we can make them a team. Fine. Let's take a look at what is our next question. Our next question is what we are doing here, like participant of this particular meetup, we are present here right now. We have a common goal. We want to learn from each other. Are we a team? Do we have a common goal? Are we a team? You said yes, we are a team.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I think so. I'm so happy that I heard someone else's voice other than mine.
I get paid for that.
Not a real time. I hope Mashood wanted to say not a real team. Me and Dio for sure. Okay. Nice. Okay, so I am going to share few examples for you. All of these examples, they have a common goal. Creative artists or academic research, maybe the community of practice, maybe the parent-teacher association, carpooling group, study group. All of them have the same goal. Are they a team?
For the most part, yeah, most of them are teams,
Mhm.
but some of them actually have more of an individual component to them.
Okay.
Things like the creative artist and stuff a little bit more, even the academic research.
Mhm.
It's a little bit more individual, but because they have a common goal, which is the production of good artwork, music, or something, or knowledge sharing, they form a team.
Thank you for sharing this thing. Anyone else want to share something else? Thank you, Patrick. What examples I actually gave here is the example where they do have a common goal. But the reason I explicitly wanted to mention here, just having a common goal, is it a good for making a team? Is it a main ingredient? It is essential. It is necessary. But is it sufficient? So if we have the common goal with a group of individuals, we can call it cooperative group, or collaborative group, depends on how they are working together. Are they working together cooperatively or collaboratively? So if there is a group of individuals, take a look at the community of practice or whatever example we discussed in past. If they have the common goal, and that is the only thing common, then they are not a team. They are just a cooperative or collaborative group. All of the examples I shared in the previous slide are the example of cooperative or collaborative group. Team is a performing collaboratively. From storm, norm, perform. Last one is a team. Okay, thank you, Kimberly, for sharing your thought. So last one, I actually don't remember what was the last one. So last one is the parent-teacher association. Okay, we'll come back to this one, parent-teacher association, whether this is a team or this is not a team. We'll come back. But here, the important point I wanted to mention is, and there is a perfectly fine, I might pick the wrong example, but the main intention is not the examples. If the examples are wrong, we can always correct ourselves. We can always pick the right example. I will be more than happy to be corrected myself. Number 4, perform. What is number 4? Collaborate, carpooling group or study group. If you can provide the name, that would be great. So the main point I wanted to mention here is the common goal is not enough to make group of individuals a team. Just with a group of individuals, if they have the common goal, they can be a cooperative or collaborative group, just like what we are doing here. We have a common goal, but other than common goal, what else do we need? So now the next question is, do we need something more than a common goal?
Hi, this is Pam. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise outside. So what I was saying is that no, you're not, everything is a group until you actually hit the fourth part of the form, storm, norm, perform.
Mhm.
Perform is a team. Anything prior to that, it's just a group.
Sure. Thank you for sharing this thing. So what we are discussing, what you are discussing is with respect to the time. So the group of individuals are going from one stage to another stage to another stage to another stage. What you are sharing is called the Tuckman model. And what I am actually discussing is a snapshot, not through the time. So I'm saying if I take the snapshot of groups of the individuals who just have the common goal, they are, we just discussed, not a team. They are just a cooperative or collaborative group. So what else do we need to make them a team? Individuals view with the success of other individuals as important to them. There must be an alignment of the goal among the group of people. Great. I hear more interesting views. That is exactly the whole purpose. I explicitly designed this session in such a way that I want to hear all of you. So we are trying to get some collective collaborative intelligence together. So let's take a look at another example. So this time I'm going to share 6 more examples. What about these examples? Do you think these are a team? And what is here in addition to the common goal? All of these 6, yes, they do have a common goal, but they do have something else. Before going to what is something else, is it a team? Collaborative, working towards a common purpose. Okay. Thank you. There must be an alignment. Thank you, Patrick. Anyone else wants to share something? Temporary teams. Nice, Nawaz. You
Yeah,
introduce
because
a new
I
term.
think the membership, I think they are not stable. I think the people come and go.
Okay,
That's what I
that's
think.
interesting. That is interesting. So temporariness, interdependent task. Awesome, Dial. That's exactly, you hit the bullseyes. So they are interdependent on each other. That is exactly what it is. Yes, they do have a common goal. Yes, I agree. In addition to the common goal, they have something more. So whatever we are discussing from now on, it is going to be have the common goal. So all of these have the interdependencies on each other. So in addition to common goals, so what does it mean? They are interdependent groups. They have the common goal and they have the interdependency. If I'm trying to make a little bit fancy with the mathematical equation, so common goal plus interdependency become an interdependent group. We are still not a team. We are still a group, but this group is a little bit more mature. This is an interdependent group. But before moving forward, what is the difference between dependency and interdependency? Dio introduced the terms interdependency. So Dio, maybe you or someone else can explain. What is interdependency and how is it similar or different than dependency?
I can give it a stab, maybe.
Sure.
I could be wrong. Interdependency, I believe, is it goes both ways, right?
Awesome.
And dependencies goes one way. So
Awesome.
that is the way I think I'm looking at it.
Thank you, Nawaz, for sharing. And without influencing anyone else by saying anything, I want to hear what others are saying or thinking. Agreed. So you agreed with what Nawaz said. This is what my understanding is, Michelle. Okay, so that's exactly what the definition of interdependency is, what Nawaz mentioned. So here in this diagram, whatever way you want to read it, whether A depends on B or B depends on A, I'm not too much picky about the notation here, but one party is dependent on another. But in the second example, on the right-hand side, both parties are dependent on each other. There can be directly, there can be indirectly, like A depends on B, B depends on C, C depends on D, and D depends on A. There can be a loop. For example, countries are interdependent on each other. They are not dependent, they are interdependent. So interdependent is our second ingredient. In addition to the common goal, we need the interdependency among the team members. So I'm going to share one more example, and this time, tell me, what about these things? What do you think? Do you think these are the team or not a team? So first of all, my first question is, are they interdependent on each other? Scholarship application, if the students are submitting the scholarship application, are they interdependent on the other students? Individual fundraiser, are they interdependent on each other? Okay, Dio said some of them. Is it Michelle or Michael? I'm sorry, I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly.
It's Michael.
Michael, thank you. So they are not Michael said they are not interdependent. Okay. So if they are not interdependent, then what is here in addition to the common goal? So we know they do have a common goal. What else is here? We just discussed that looks like they are not interdependent on each other. Job performance evaluation. So one person's evaluation is not interdependent on the other person.
What about the group fitness challenge?
So group fitness challenge, it means here is like sometimes in organizations, so there is an initiative that this particular department, this particular sector, they have to weigh that much lose or whatever their numbers are.
Okay.
One person losing the weight is not interdependent or even dependent on another person,
No.
but they do have the mutual accountability. In this particular example, in addition to the common goal, they do have the mutual accountability. Everyone in that particular group is accountable to achieve the same goal. It is something like if there is any sports going on, whether it's a baseball, basketball, soccer, cricket, everyone is responsible for the end result. They cannot say that it is not my job, I have done my job. So they are mutually accountable. So since they have the common goal and they are mutually accountable, but they are not interdependent on each other. So we call it parallel group or group with a parallel effort. And again, trying to be a little bit fancy with the mathematical thing. So in this case, we do have a common goal, But here, instead of interdependency, we have a mutual accountability. If we have a common goal and mutual accountability, then it becomes a parallel group. Let's take a look at another example. What about these? Are they teams? So let's try to explore one by one. Do they have the common goal? So
No.
Alan said they do not have a common goal. Business partnership, they might have their own different goals. Suppose if there is a partnership going on between Microsoft and Google, they have their own goal. They do not have a common goal here. Supply chain collaboration, interdisciplinary research group, organizational cross-functional groups, international diplomatic negotiation. But they do have interdependency. They do have mutual accountability. If the partnership is going on, both have the accountability to get best out of that partnership, to increase profit, generate revenue, but they have their own different goals. So in this particular example, now we do have the mutual accountability, we do have the interdependency, but we do not have a common goal. So what we are saying in this particular case, it is an interdependent collaboration. And if I am trying to be a little bit fancy again with the math equation, so here, the third possibility, if we have the interdependent or interdependency, I think I should write it interdependency here. If we have the interdependency, if we have a mutual accountability, then it becomes an interdependent collaboration. It is not a team. And why it is not a team? We started from the very beginning, from the very first question, or maybe the second question, because they don't have a common goal. Although they are dependent on each other, although they are mutually accountable. So what is a team? It means team needs all three ingredients. Team has a common goal, mutually accountable, and interdependent. If any one of the ingredient is missing, it is not a team. It can be something else. And we just saw the examples. So let's revisit this thing. So here, this is what we just gone through so far. And you can take a look at if something is missing, then what is the end result is going to be? It can be a group, it can be a coordinated group, interdependent group, parallel group, or interdependent collaboration. To make it a team, we need all three of them. Any questions so far? Because I want to take a little bit detour from here, and then I will come back. So my detour is because this is the agile conversation. So let's put something related to agile. Yep, I heard some voice. Someone wanted to say something? No? Okay, so let's have a little bit conversation with respect to the agile or Scrum. My question is, if hypothetically assume our team size is one-man army, 1-person team, what is the optimal use of daily Scrum if there is a team size of 1? Are we going to get any advantage of the daily Scrum if there is only 1 person in a team?
You get some communication, but it's going to be limited.
Okay, communication to whom? Communication to myself?
To the product owner and the people in the in the Scrum. Or like,
Okay.
I think it's the product owner would be the one who'd be there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for mentioning this thing. But okay, let me be more specific. I said the team, I mentioned the Scrum team. So Scrum teams mean there is one individual who are going to play all the accountabilities. So if there is a one person, one man army,
Yeah, it's useless. Then
it's
you might,
useless.
yeah.
It's useless. Yes. So it means that Robert, thank you, Nawaz. So it means that daily Scrum has something to do with the team. If there is not a team, we are probably not getting much advantage of the daily Scrum. Let's go back to our topic of the team. So we just discussed team has 3 ingredients: common goal, mutual accountability, and interdependency. And we discussed the daily Scrum has something to do with the team. What are we going to discuss? What is going to be changed on a daily basis? The common goal, the mutual accountability, or the interdependency? What might change? Is our common goal change?
No, I don't think so. I think your interdependency might be affected on it.
Exactly. So our common goal is not going to be changed. Our accountabilities, mutual accountability is not going to be changed. The only possibility that might change is interdependency. Alan, thank you for mentioning this thing. That's exactly what might be changing on a day-to-day basis. Our goal is same, our accountability is same. So if our interdependency is changing, might be possibly changing on a daily basis, how are we going to manage it?
Yeah, I think it's you got to agree on it. Like that's why you have your meeting. You basically agree how you're going to. Like someone's going to say, "Okay, I'm going to do this. Help you. I need, or I'm going to help you on this, or I need help," and they will let someone else. They'll be involved in someone else's phase of the work.
Thank you, Alan, for such a nice answer. That's exactly what we are going to do. Anyone else want to share something in addition to what Alan mentioned?
I work in this type of team environment, but it doesn't always, it creates its own challenges because people want to get, some people want all the credit for the thing because they don't want, they've done a lot of work developing something, and then all of a sudden they say, no, they try and go around and say, I don't want someone else helping me because I want all the credit.
So what is missing here? Do you think the mutual accountability is missing here?
Yeah.
So can we consider it as a team if the mutual accountability is missing? We just discussed the 3 ingredients of the team: common goal, mutual accountability, interdependency. So Alan, that's exactly what we are going to do in a daily Scrum. Thank you for mentioning the answering of this particular question. Anyone else wants to answer this question or want to add something on the top of what Alan mentioned? So if I want to explain only in one word what Alan mentioned, some of you already answered this, interestingly answered this question at the beginning of the session. So that one word, my one word is alignment. So that is exactly what we are going to do in daily Scrum. It is not a status meeting. It is a planning meeting where we are aligning ourselves towards the common goal, which is a sprint goal in Scrum or iteration goal in SAFe. That is what we are doing in daily Scrum. Because of the interdependencies might change on a daily basis. Not because of the common goal. Our common goal is not going to change. Not because of the mutual accountabilities. All of the team members are still mutually accountable to achieve the common goal. But their interdependency might changes. Let's take one step ahead. So we have a team, again, it's the same slide, same picture, common goal, mutually accountable, and interdependence. What do you think? Is this team organized team?
I think you need some rules more in there.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my teams where I've been working, it's always rules.
Mm-hmm. I have a doubt, Alan, you are reading my slides.
No, because I tried to become a trainer in this. Well, anyway, I couldn't. They didn't want an older guy on it, or I don't know if it's so. They had other reasons.
Thank you, Alan. That's exactly what I'm going. So if we only have these three things, common goal, mutual accountability, and interdependency, this team may or may not be organized, depending on how the individuals are behaving. But if we want to make this team organized, we need, Alan mentioned the roles, and I'm using the slightly different word. I'm using the accountabilities, and that's exactly the word is also using in the Scrum guide. We need the clear accountabilities. And here, initially I created the whole three things here, the clear goal, common goal, mutual accountabilities, and interdependency, but it become too much, too crowded. So the first three, I just call it team. So the team, the first circle team means it already has all three ingredients. It means the first circle means they have a common goal, they have a mutual accountability, and they have the interdependencies. In addition to that, now we have the clear accountabilities. Take a look at that thing. So take a look at the example of soccer or football, depending on which part of the world you are. Everyone has the appropriate accountabilities. So you are a striker, you are a midfielder, you are a defender, you are a goalkeeper, or whatever sports you are doing. So everyone has a clear accountability, so it is not a chaos. Just imagine if we are trying to create a soccer team with all the strikers. Is it going to be a good thing? Although their goal is same, although they are mutual accountable to win this particular match, although they are interdependent on each other, but they may not be organized because everyone is a striker. Everyone is trying to hit the ball. So we need some clear accountabilities. If we add the clear accountabilities, then it becomes an organized team. Let's take one step forward. What about if I also add the boundaries? Remember, in Scrum team, who is doing the estimation or sizing? Is it a product owner? Is it a Scrum master or developers? We define the boundaries. These are your areas. You cannot go outside of your areas. Who is ordering the product backlog? Is it a Scrum master, a product owner, or developers? Even take a look at the sports. I was using the soccer example. In soccer or football, who can pick the ball from hands? Striker, midfielder, defender, or goalkeeper? So we define the boundaries, what you can or you cannot do. In addition to the clear accountabilities, if we also define the boundaries, it becomes a self-organizing team. Self-organizing team, in addition to team, has the clear accountabilities and boundaries. Or if I just want to unpack the team, so it means it has a common goal, it has the mutual accountability, it has the interdependency, it has the clear accountabilities, and it has the boundaries. Now I'm going to take a slight D route again. And this time my question is related to the knowledge worker. All of us in this industry are working as a knowledge worker. How can we motivate the knowledge worker?
I think specific reasonably attainable goals.
Mhm.
And also the acknowledgement that you've in a sense, it's like a psychological reward. Thank you for you. Thanks, Dave. You did a great job.
Mhm. Thank you, Alan. And let me give you one hint for some of you who are still thinking. When we were discussing with respect to the knowledge worker, it means we are discussing the intrinsic motivation, not extrinsic motivation. How can we give the intrinsic motivation?
Tell them you've been told it can't be done.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's always worked for me.
Thank you, Sheila. I never heard this answer. You educated me. Definitely, I can try this thing. So in this particular example, I'm actually going to discuss the Edward Decky, and his work is actually further refined on the Daniel Pink, and the famous book of the Daniel Pink is Drive. So the intrinsic motivation we are giving to the knowledge worker if we give them autonomy, mastery, and purpose. If these three things are there, then knowledge worker are got the intrinsic motivation. Now my question is, why I actually went to this route of the intrinsic motivation. All of a sudden, I was discussing about the team, and all of a sudden, I took another route and goes to the intrinsic motivation. There must be something. That is my next question. What is the relationship between the intrinsic motivation and self-organizing team? Did we notice any similarities? Any differences? Any connection?
You need the intrinsic motivation to keep progressing forward with the project.
Thank you, Alan. Nice. And what about the others? What the others wanted to say? Even the chat is mute. No one is even typing on the chat.
What I find is that if you can get, if everyone's intrinsically motivated, but they're also understanding of the others. One team was people cared about the others. Like they realized that you have little goals that have to be milestones that have to be met. And if someone wasn't meeting, someone would say, "Oh, I know this area very well. I'm a good coder. I'll give you a hand on it so we can meet next week's deadline." And that is a beautiful feeling when you have a team like that.
Awesome. And we already assume it is a self-organizing team. It means it has all the ingredient.
Yes, yeah.
So
and the product owner says that this is this is a self-organizing team, and it just happens probably because he is well enough aware of what happens with people too.
Thank you, Alan. So here I'm trying to use the two concepts at the same time. What is the intrinsic motivation? Take a look at the circle on the left. Intrinsic motivation is a mastery, purpose, and autonomy. Take a look at the circle, green circle on the right, which is a self-organizing. Self-organizing has a clear accountabilities, shared goal, and boundaries. Shared goal and purpose. Doesn't it look like the same thing? Autonomy, we got the autonomy within our boundaries. So this is our boundary. We can do whatever we want inside our boundary. We got the autonomy inside the boundary. The developers are supposed to give the sizing and estimation. That is their boundary, and they can give whatever estimation is suitable for them. Product owner, their boundary is to order the product backlog. The product owner can order the product backlog in whatever way he or she may find it useful for the stakeholders. So what this picture is showing us, if we have the self-organizing team and we give them the mastery, then we can also achieve the intrinsic motivation. Or if you are looking from the other side, if we have the intrinsic motivation and we give them the clear accountabilities, we can make a self-organizing team. Am I too fast or too slow or too abstract?
I think that's pretty good.
Thank you, Alan.
And if you can have people don't have to be masters in everything. They can be masters in each one of their specialized areas. But when if they can interact within the team, then they make the whole team becomes kind of like the master of that knowledge.
Thank you, Alan. Now, on the same line, I'm now going to discuss in something on a different level. Still now, we are working only a team. What about if we're trying to scale? And first of all, what does it mean by scale?
Sorry, Ishan, can we go back on that?
Sure.
On the team slide? I thought there is another slide after that. I'm just trying to think like, okay, we did not use the word agile or agile teams here, but I'm trying to think like the parallels of. So we used to have, and we still have to this day, project teams. So those teams have, I'm trying to tick those things in my head, like the boxes. So I think they do have pretty much everything what we think that is needed for a team. But are those people on those project teams intrinsically motivated? Like I'm just trying to.
Are we giving them enough opportunity to master in their own trade?
Mhm.
Are we giving them enough autonomy to make the decision in their area? Are they understand the big picture? If these three checkboxes are checked, then we are giving them intrinsic motivation.
Mhm.
Why we are here after the office hours? Because we want to masters. We want to learn from each other. We are not get paid to attend this thing. We are here because of our intrinsic motivation. Because we want to get better in our trade. Did I answer your question, Nawaz?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like I think there is a nice book also from projects to product. I think that's the whole mindset shift. So I'm just trying to think like project teams to I don't know, product teams or agile teams. Like
Okay, we can have a follow-up
yes,
meetup exactly on the same topic.
yeah.
So right
think
now, I wanted to focus a little bit on the scaling. So right now, I'm not saying it is an agile team or project team or product team. I'm just saying group of individuals. And the example I picked in the previous slides, by design, I think only one or two example, other than one or two example, none of the example is related to agile. So another thing I wanted to discuss today is related to the scaling. When we said, how do we scale the team? So first of all, what does it mean by scale?
And making it into a larger a group of like you apply it to another situation where you have more the same process, but a different team. So you replicate it throughout your organization.
Thank you. And based on that, let's go back to our favorite picture again. So we have a team that has a common goal, mutual accountability, interdependency. If we are going to scale with a larger group of peoples, which factor should we consider? Should we consider the common goal, the mutual accountability, or the interdependency? Where should I focus?
I think your common goal is very, very important.
Now I'm very much sure you are reading my slide ahead of me.
Yeah, but what about the interdependency?
Hold your thought. Hold your thought, Dio. I will come back here. Thank you for sharing. Hold your thought. I will come back here. Alan is reading my mind. One slide ahead of me.
I've been in many teams, functional, dysfunctional, so this is just experience. I'm guessing at these things.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We are learning from your experience. Thank you for that. So when we are discussing about the goals, let's take a look at from this dimension. Can we have a short-term goal and a long-term goal?
Of course.
And just use that thought, short-term goal and long-term goal. What about this particular situation? We have a teams, in this particular example, 3 teams, and every team has their short-term goals and long-term goals.
The long-term goal should be very similar so that, or they should be not similar, congruent, so that you end up having a common end result.
You give me the proof that you are reading my slide. So can we have the same long-term goal? In this particular example, we have the 3 teams here. Every team has their own short-term goal, their own long-term goal. It is just a different teams. But as Alan mentioned, can we have the same long-term goal?
Well,
What about this one? Every team has their own short-term goal, but all teams have the same long-term goal. And this is, in literature, this is called the multi-team system, or MTS. But as Dio mentioned just a few minutes ago, interdependency. Do they have the interdependency? In this particular example, what I explicitly mentioned, although they do have the same long-term goal, but they do not have any interdependency. Yes, they have the mutual accountability to achieve that goal, but they do not have any interdependency. So this is a group of teams. Some people might be confused. What is a group of teams? That's exactly what my question is. What do you mean by group of teams? We heard the term team of team. There is actually a book with the same name. A lot of people are using the terms team of team. I'm saying it's not a team of team, it is a group of teams. Any example anyone can share?
All I can see is that it's a group of teams. They're not working together. They're not putting that effort to get the synergies from the various teams, and they're focusing on the in their own manner at the long-term goal. You're losing efficiency, because if you don't work, if there isn't interaction or communication working with the teams.
Exactly. Although they might have the same goal, long-term goal. So I have a question. How many medals US won in the last Olympics? Or for my Canadian friends, Canada won in the last Olympic, or whatever country you belongs to. Feel free to use Google or ChatGPT. It is not a memory question. I'm assuming more than 100, at least in USA and Canada. I don't know the answer honestly, but there are multiple teams from the US, from the Canada, participating in the Olympics. They have the same common goal, win the medal, as many medal as they want. But are those teams interdependent on each other? So those teams which belongs to the same country going to the Olympic to win as many gold medal or as many medal as they want, it is an example of group of teams. They have the same long-term goal. They have the mutual accountability, but they are not interdependent on each other. So if are those teams dependent on, I already give you the answer of this question. I wanted to ask this question, but I already give you the answer. If the teams are also interdependent on each other, this is again a multi-team system. Previous one was also a multi-team system. This is also a multi-team system. Previous multi-team system is a group of teams. This multi-team system is a team of teams. Here we have a same long-term goal. We have a mutual accountability to achieve the goal. and we have interdependencies among the team. So let's try to pick some example from Agile world. In Agile, especially in SAFe, Scaled Agile framework, we call it train. What is train? Train is just a multi-team system. Do we have a long-term goal here? Yes, the PI objective of the train. Do we have a short-term goal? Yes, iteration goal for all teams. Are they mutually accountable for the long-term goal? Yes, everyone in the team or every team is going to achieve the PI objective. Are they interdependent on each other? Yes, they are interdependent on each other. Agile release train is a multi-team system. My last question to you, did you achieve what you wanted to achieve in this session? At the beginning, I asked you a question. What do you want to achieve? Mashood wanted to listen to me. I hope Mashood at least achieve.
The goal was shared knowledge. A lot of people chipped in, a lot of ideas. We all aligned towards that common goal of getting a better understanding. So we improved that agile knowledge. We got there.
Thank you. And I know we are 1 minute over. I have to keep an eye on the clock. So I need a feedback from you. How can I get better? If you go to the menti.com and use the code 81575607, or just use the URL I gave on the top. So you can give me the feedback. What do you think? In 3 words, you've explained this session in 3 words. Let me share that screen.
Have to see the code again.
Sure, I am sharing that thing again. Come on, somehow this is giving me a little bit hard time putting it in the another monitor. I think I have to end the slideshow. My bad, technical difficulties. I'm actually surprised why it didn't happen yet, and finally it happened.
Maybe Dio can read out the code.
It is 81575607. And
We've got 8157.
5607. And here it is. Finally, I got it in another thing. I present this thing and I share my screen again. Share the screen button and screen 2. Hopefully you are able to see this thing. How do you describe this session in 3 words? So the code is at the top. No feedback. I'm so disappointed. I consider feedback a gift.
That's because you changed the code.
I changed the code. Oh, my
Because
bad. It's a Menti thing. I'm expecting a gift from you. Feedback is a gift. Thank you. I know it is 4 minutes over time. And if you already have some other commitment, feel free to drop, or if you want to give me some gift in the form of feedback, I will be highly appreciated. Brain teaser, that is interesting. Theory only, interesting.
That was a very good presentation. I came in late, so I missed that bit of this stuff, but I should have been here early, but family demands.
Thank you, Alan. And Nawaz is going to share the recording with all of you. So I'm not sure how to pronounce this thing. Invigorating. I have to Google it. What does it mean?
Invigorating. Exciting, I guess.
Yep, energetic kind of.
Honestly, I'm learning new word here. I don't know what does it mean.
Okay.
Not evidence-based. Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice. Thank you for giving this feedback. Not evidence-based. Yes. So that is pretty much all from my side. You can feel free to, I will leave it open. Feel free to give the feedback. So I wanted to hand it over back to Nawaz, or in case if any one of you has any questions. Nawaz and Dayo, back to you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you also. For me, I said it was kind of packed, helpful, insightful as well. I learned a lot about teams, groups, how to identify them, interdependencies, dependencies. That's very great. Thank you so much. And I just want to run through, I know we're at time. Any questions before we drop off for the day?
I can ask one, maybe.
Please go.
So I'm going back to the slide, like the Dishan, I don't know, it was the first one of those initial slides where you have this nice matrix of all the different types of settings when it comes to groups, teams, interdependent teams, interdependent groups, and all of that. So there are, I think, 5 types, and then and you're ticking boxes or crossing them off, like against a common goal and there you go, common goal, interdependency, and mutual accountability. So I wanted to ask, what would you do, like if you actually meet an organization which is actually at the first level group? So where would you start? Like, would you do this in this sequence, like or you would just jump straight to the team? Like I that is what I see most of the time happening.
Yep.
We mostly go to these organizations and we meet these groups, and then the emphasis is to turn this group into a team. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what do you think, like how you see that?
Thank you, Nawaz. I'm glad you asked this question. So I'm not going for any sequence at all, because there is no simple recipe we are going to do. So the first and the most important thing I want to do is to build the trust. So if there is no trust, then we cannot achieve anything of that. And the very first thing I'm going to build the trust is I'm showing my vulnerability in front of the team. So they will start feeling trustful with me. And if they are started vulnerable with each others, then they will start building the trust on each other. And for this thing, even before going to the Tuckman model or anything, I will say one of my best thing is the 5 dysfunction of the team. It started with the trust, and then start with something else. Even if you are focusing on the Scrum point of view, the 5 values of the Scrum, the main purpose of those 5 values are in every Scrum literature is, if the Scrum team is following 5 values, then it means they establish the trust among themselves. So I will start with the trust rather than following any recipe. Did I answer your question?
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other one? If not, I will say thank you to our guest. Thank you to the speaker. Thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zishan. Thanks, Dayo and Nawaj. Have a great one.
Thank you.